Excuse me just a minute. I'm oriented here. Okay. All right, this is Mayor Kevin Smith. It's Tuesday, May the 4th, 2021, and I'm going to call the City Council regularly scheduled City Council meeting to order. I want to welcome all of our guests, media in attendance, and thank you for your attention. Ms. Ramsey, call the roll.
Forward.
Here.
Franklin.
Here.
St. Columbia.
Here.
Crockett. Davis.
Here.
Here.
Etherly. Mr. Etherly. Okay.
I think he's running a little bit late, like I was.
Okay, that's 4 present, 2 absent.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order, and again with the quorum. And Ms. Sandy, do you want to go over the minutes of March the 9th?
I had emailed everybody and put it in your packet the minutes from March 9th and 16th, April 6th, and April 20th. We'll start out with March 9th. If you've had time to look them over, I just need a motion to approve as presented or any changes that you might have.
Motion to approve the minutes as printed.
Mr. Franklin moves adoption of the minutes from March the 9th. Is there a second?
I second.
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Ms. Davis and Mr. St. Columbia.
Ms. Davis seconds the motion to adopt the minutes from March the 9th. Any other discussion, questions? If not, call the roll.
Davis.
Yes.
St. Columbia.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Forward.
Yes.
That's 4 yes. Mr. Etherly and Ms. Crockett are still not online. Okay, the next one will be the minutes of March the 16th.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Franklin moves adoption of the minutes from March the 16th. Mr. St. Columbia seconds the motion. Hoping everybody's had a chance. They were mailed out earlier or emailed out. Are there any questions or comments? If not, call the roll.
St. Columbia.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
And Forward.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Crockett and Mr. Etherly are still offline. Next are the minutes of April the 6th.
So moved.
I think I heard Mr. Franklin move adoption of the minutes from April 6th. Is there a second?
Second.
I think that was Ms. Davis seconded the motion from April 6th. Any questions or comments about the motion? If not, call the roll.
St. Columbia. Mr. Joe. Forward.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia. Okay, that's 3 yes, 2 not, and 3 not online. Mr. Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Okay, that'd be a quorum. Thank you. All right, the next. The next are the minutes of April the 20th, and that will be the last set of minutes.
So moved.
Ms. Franklin moves adoption of the minutes from April the 20th. Is there a second?
Second.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
okay, and under the heading guest, District Court Judge Jason Carter, where the voting,
yes,
abstaining Franklin and offline Franklin, which one is it? abstaining or offline?
I'll go back and look.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right, with that one correction to be corrected, are you ready for a vote?
Yeah, any other questions or comments about the minutes? Good catch, Ms. Ford. If not, call the roll.
Ford,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
St. Columbia. He must be offline. Davis.
Yes.
I have 3 yes. Mr. Etherly and Ms. Crockett are not on yet, and Mr. St. Columbia is offline. Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes all of the minutes. Thank you. And Ms. Ford, thank you again for catching that.
Okay, so we'll make that correction, and so thank you for that. Also, the next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report, and Mr. Turner, you're recognized.
Okay, like as usual, the treasurer's report won't be ready until the second city council meeting, but if any second city council meeting of the month, but if any city council member has any questions about the March treasurer's report, I'm open for any questions.
Okay, questions?
Or any other previous treasurer's report.
There are no questions. Are there anything else you want to talk about, Mr. Turner?
No, nothing comes to mind right now.
Okay, we'll move on.
I'm sorry. I have a question, Mr. Turner.
Yes, sir.
If you would, Ms. Davis had talked about it in previous meetings about this grass cutting. Can you send us out a number on what we have left? I mean, what we're going to start with implement? I mean, with the grass contract, how much money is in the budget for us to start and see what do we need to do? Because right now the grass cutting is getting started and we're kind of behind. And I kind of want us to have money put. I know we already have money in the budget, but just trying to let the people know that we are trying to get a handle on this grass cutting, because I think it's 100,000 or 50,000 or whatever's in there. I would like for you to send us a handout just circling what's in the budget for that, because I want each member to know. And as the season starts, let us know what the beginning of the budget is. I mean, how much is left, so we can work out on seeing what we need to do with adding more money or whatever we need to do. So we can get everything we need to get done.
Okay,
So I just want
yeah, no problem. That's no problem.
to get an email to each member of the council, including the mayor, on what we got to start with, and I mean, if we need to input more money.
Okay, I'll do that, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. Also, I've asked before, I was trying to see if I can get a list of the upcoming demolitions from Code or Sandy. I'm not sure who it comes from.
I was thinking we had that in a recent packet.
I didn't get it.
Maybe we didn't, but we'll look at. I know I've seen it, so we'll look at that list, make sure it's updated, and send it back out. If that's okay. That's acceptable. And then give us your feedback on it. We have a list. I've seen it, and I thought we updated it. I thought we did this, but maybe we didn't. But I have seen it, so we'll make sure it's updated. You know, because at least it's been at least a couple of weeks, so we'll make sure it's updated and resend it out.
Thank you.
But, okay. Anything else from Mr. Turner? All right. We'll move on to the next item of business. Before I do, or I want to make sure I don't want to waste anybody's time. The Children's Safety Center of Arkansas is an organization or an agency of the state of Arkansas that is funded to help specifically with child abuse and sexual abuse. That's been around probably 20 years. And we are now in with Brinkley. The closest office we have, or the closest clinic, you might call it, we have is in Brinkley. We were with Forest City and West Memphis, but Forest City wasn't staffed on a very regular basis. And we have cases in Phillips County that fit that need. And without belaboring it too much, I just really kind of want to introduce you to that program. It actually started in the 70s in Alabama by a federal judge, and it was adopted in Northwest Arkansas. And then the legislature appropriated about $20 million 15 years or so ago. And Brinkley and West Memphis and ultimately Forest City received offices. We don't have one here in Phillips County. So we have to take cases like that to Brinkley. And we just took 2 like that to Brinkley last week. Anyway, the office that we're now under is headquartered in Lone Oak, and they have the branch in Brinkley. They're willing to operate a program here in Helena-West Helena if we can do a facility. A facility basically requires an interview room with a 2-way window where the state police, Department DHS, Department of Human Services, Child Services, our police, I'm forgetting a few folks, mental health, a few others, and you have a trained interviewer who interviews the child, who is often 5, 6, 7 years old, and it's videotaped, and the questions are fed to the interviewer through a microphone system so that the child's not sort of overwhelmed. And then they videotape that, and there's a second room where there is a physical inspection done by, licensed and trained medical people, often in the cases of sexual abuse, of course. That too is documented. And then the child goes with the mental health professional who is trained to deal with children who are either victims of child and physical abuse or victims of allegations of it, because these things come up in custody battles, and sometimes they're founded and sometimes they're not, but almost every time a child is either mentally or, if not physically abused, at least mentally or emotionally abused from the process. So this was designed to put the child first. So I'm excited that people in Lone Oak are willing to open an office here. That's what this is about. I just wanted to introduce that to you. Do we have anybody on the call tonight? I did invite a few people, but I didn't follow up today. So who I invited to discuss that. It's hard for me to see everybody on the call, or on the meeting. We'll revisit it in the future. There's no action that's required tonight. I just wanted to make you aware of it, basically. Any questions about that? Gabby, did you want to talk about this issue? And also, I thought, we have a lot of issues with women, as well as children. So that's something that we have an issue with. But we do have people who are trying to address parts of that issue. So they need to be a part of that discussion. I don't know if you can hear me, Gabby. I'm not sure she can, but Gabby, can you hear me? Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on, but I'm just introducing that as to the council as something that I was encouraged by. It's a problem everywhere, including our city. And we had, like I said, 2 cases just last week. And obviously I can't go into details about something like that. Anyway, all right, I'll move on. So the next item of business is, or the first item of new business is the event permit approval. We were asked to approve a Helena Day Festival, May the 22nd. Ms. Dexter Davis is the primary Mr. Dexter Davis is the primary contact, and the permit is in the packet. My feeling about these is that this needs to be a group decision. Well, it has to be a group decision, actually, whether I want it to be or not, it has to be. And so I just told them they were welcome to make their case before the council. So is Mr. Davis or anybody represent Mr. Davis on tonight?
Yes, sir, it's me.
Okay, would you like, I'm going to recognize you to discuss that and answer any questions.
Okay, my mom is on here too. Mom, I think that you can.
Would you mind identifying yourselves so that we can get that in the minutes and everything?
All right. Yeah, my name is Dexter Davis. I'm from Helena, Arkansas.
And I'm the mother. My name is Tracy Williams, and I'm also from Helena.
Okay. You want to tell us briefly about your event and then just be open to questions?
Yes, sir. We are doing a Helena Day Festival. It's going to have a local business expo. It's going to be food trucks there, and it's going to be a showcase to showcase the talent in Helena. Rap or singing or dancing or like anything like that. I've spoke with the chief of police because I feel like the main thing trying to do a festival is just trying to make sure that everybody's safe. So I've been talking with the chief, and we're going to set up these type of checkpoints. These will be COVID and security checkpoints. So we will have a temperature gun, some hand sanitizer, and masks, and the police will just search people for all type of knives or guns or things like that. I think this is a really great, just like an opportunity for everybody in the city to have something that's positive, you know. I've been talking to the local businesses and a lot of businesses that's like around the area, and they are very upbeat about it. But if you guys have any questions, or your mom, do you have anything that you would like to say?
Yes, I do. The purpose of this festival is we do realize there are a lot of activities as unwanted activities in the Helena-West Helena area, and we are part of that. So what we've come up with, we felt like we had to come in there along with the city and help change it, turn it around, give them something that's positive where they are. We have to, it's my belief that we have to get in and we have to show them a different way. I think the biggest problem is they have nothing else to do. One, I don't think they really know the opportunities out there that they can do that can change how they think it. Now, it will be foolish of us to try to reach them the same way that we've been doing it. We have been unsuccessful in that attempt. So that became like, okay, we need to do something. This is getting ridiculous. What are we doing here? What is the city really doing? What is the city have in place to change the way they think? Because we've surveyed a lot of kids there. One, they're afraid. They have nothing else to do but what they're doing. And I think that's the only way. But what we know for certain, teach them a trade. We have young entrepreneurs that are coming in with their own businesses that are from that area to say, hey, look, you guys can get out too. You can do this. Change the way you think and you change the behavior. That's what I believe. So this is what we're trying to come in and say, hey, look, guys, we understand because we're from Helena, but let us show you a different way to handle yourself. Period. I mean, we just need to give them an opportunity, meet them where they are, and just change. It may not happen overnight, but if you put a little seed in them, who knows? Who knows? Helena, we believe in Helena-West Helena. We've seen it prosperous. We've seen it on the up. We've seen this. So that's where we are. We just need an opportunity to express ourselves and to get in touch with these guys. Say, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. And keep communicating with these guys.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I'll just start with a question. Will there be a charge? Will there be a charge to attend?
No, sir.
There will be an entry fee.
The artist showcase.
That's why I charge it.
Other questions from the council?
Did she say there will not be an entry fee?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's where we are. We really do think that this would work. This would really work for us. As I said, I've been there, been with the community center for years and had camps, swimming camps. We've had all kinds of things there that I know worked, or at least kept these guys busy for little time, like camping, swimming. So we just really do have a heart for that, for our hometown. And we know these people, we know these guys, we know where they are. We don't not necessarily know their every thought, but after talking to them and hearing them, this is what they are really saying to us. Hey, look, we don't have anything else. We're going to get drunk. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Okay, so you guys don't have anything to do, right? So, and that's where they are. And we would like to meet them right there. They all have dreams. They all have dreams. These kids that we're talking to and about, they have dreams. It is not shooting. It is not fighting. That's their survival. They know nothing else. And we just want to come in, say, okay, along with the city, this is what we have for you right now. We're not going to judge you. We're not going to, our whole motive is to change the way you think. That's it. In their environment, which is music and their friends. It's important that our kids there in that county have a different outlook on life. Know that, hey, you can go start your business online right there. It makes sense to me. So I'm hoping you guys can see that the love is still there. We can't keep telling them, oh, stay in the house, do this, that. We got to give them something. That's my belief. Any questions?
Let me ask you one more question. I see where you did submit. Maybe I missed this. You submitted it to the Delta Cultural Center, who actually is in charge of the pavilion. If that's the one I'm thinking you're talking about, the big one, the big stage at the end of Cherry Street. That one is. So, have they approved it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Other questions? All right. Thank y'all. And thank you, of course, for your desire to help. It's always appreciated. What's the will of the council? I guess we would need
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Helena Day Festival that will be held on May 22nd.
Ms. Davis makes a motion to approve the Helena Day Festival on May the 22nd as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. St. Columbia seconds the motion. Any other questions or discussion about the motion? If not, Ms. Sandy, call roll.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mrs. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Mr. Franklin? Ms. Ford?
Yes.
Mr. Etherly and Ms. Crockett are still offline. Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
It passes.
So it's been approved. Again, thank y'all for your work and diligence, and I hope it improves things. And just keep in touch, if you would, with our
Will do.
police department. And I see where you're going to take care of the cleanup, which there will be cleanup involved. So make sure that the folks that are helping you on the front end stick around afterwards for the next day or the next morning, or because there will be trash and all of that stuff, and that's something that apparently we had to deal with a long time. So just make sure that you're diligent about the trash pickup after the event. And congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
I wanted to, before we go to the next thing, is Ms. Moore on the meeting? Sharon? Okay. Ms. Moore?
She's there. She's on mute.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
There you are. Hey, Ms. Moore, thank you for being on tonight. So the next item on the agenda is City Parks and Recreation. We're just continuing this conversation. I think we've sent out your original document to the council, and again, didn't have any action item to speak of, but you've submitted at least one grant on our behalf, and you want to just update the council on where you are?
Yeah, we've submitted one grant for $75,000. So we're looking to hear from something of that at the end of May, if we will be awarded that money. We have at least 7 or 8 more that we are gearing up to submit for in the upcoming week.
So I don't know if we lost you. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. So Ms. Moore submitted one grant and is working on some others, and we have some deadlines coming up. So I just wanted her to give an update. At some point, we have to talk about, the cost of the Parks and Recreation program, if we can afford it, what we want to see, who we want to do it. And as we just approved an event for the end of May. So the state has loosened up some of the guidelines on COVID. Personally, in my opinion, and well, not my opinion, it is my opinion, but I'm choosing to listen to the experts who know a lot more about this than I do, because they've been right pretty much every time. I'm very nervous that these other variants will take hold and we'll have another wave of this. I sure hope we don't. But people need to be reminded that one of the reasons our Parks and Recreation program was basically stalled, at least in recent years, is because of COVID. And as we just heard, there needs to be more activities for young people. And I get all that. What we don't want to do is have a situation where we're shut down for another 6 months or a year, because we're not really diligent right now. And that's just my opinion. But what I do feel strongly about is that we need a robust Parks and Recreation program when we are ready, sooner or later, depending on what the will of the council and the city is. To reopen the city fully, that means reopening all of our parks and recreational facilities completely, restoring the basketball nets and all those things. And not only that, but we hope add to that. what we had before, not just what we had before, but to build on that or build upon that. And that's what Ms. Moore is trying to help us do. Any questions for Ms. Moore?
Well, not for Ms. Moore, but for you, Mayor. Now, you saying that you like to see all this, but Mayor, you must remember right now that recreation is going on in every Tuesday and Thursday that you have not came back to the city council. So, Ms. Moore, no disrespect to you, the mayor is always going off doing something without notifying the council first. So I understand that, you know, if you're going to receive a grant at the end of the month, if that's my hearing is correctly, but Mayor, you have to be up and honest with the city council. You have let the parks, the Boys and Girls Club used to attend, used to meet at. You have let some organization get that. What are you planning to do with that organization? And you said that you would bring the city council back a plan. When you decided to let the organizations in there use the facility, we have not gotten that back. The thing with you, Calvin Smith, is that you decide to do stuff and then tell us on the back end. Before you do something, Calvin, you should notify us when you decide to do it, not after you get something done, because we're in the dark, because you're on this re-election committee thing where you're trying to make yourself look good, but it doesn't make you look good when you're not keeping your council informed. It doesn't look right, because if you want Ms. Moore to do something, how Ms. Moore gonna come in and do what she needs to do when you already got this building? Somebody's using this building right now as we speak. So those are the games that I'm just one person on the city council. I event was just to prove I was doing something, but I was going to say something. But I'm so glad I just let it go on, because anything's going to bring something to Helena, a positive. I'm for it, but you need to be up and honest with the members of this body and the public that there is somebody right now using the armory over on the Helena side. And you know as well as I know that that's not good for us. It's a liability. Well, I'm glad. I mean, it's a liability. The people may have insurance, but we don't know anything. You have not told us nothing. All we know is we want Parks and Recreation open. Well, if you want Parks and Recreation open, why don't you keep this building where if Miss Moore, if she needs to come in and do whatever she needs to do, she got the building to do it. Well, she don't. And I mean, I just give it back. I'm just saying, be honest with us as the city council. You rush and bring everything to us and cram it down our throat when you want us to vote for something. And then when it comes time to, oh, I should have did this. Well, think about it before you make these decisions. And the people over in that army, you can talk back now.
Thank you for your permission. We just have two people, I think, that have keys to that armory who were city employees who were custody of it. We have an after-school program. And yeah, they had to sign an agreement. We did bring it before the council and discussed it quite a bit. But one of Ms. Moore's jobs is to help us come up with that plan so that when we reopen, we can more fully utilize it, because it's not being used for the recreational purposes that it could be used and has been in the past. So that is the point, really, of Ms. Moore being here and trying to help us do such a plan. So that's all I have to say about that. The Parks and Recreation program, I think, in my opinion, is something that I started off pretty fast on after I took office, and it got stilted with pandemic, as it has everywhere. And I'm anxious to see it get back and actually just be better than it has in a long time, because we have really amazing resources here with parks and recreation. We're lucky to have the North Helena Armory you're talking about. We're lucky to have the Boys and Girls Club. We're lucky to have Washington Street Park, North Helena Park. We have a park over on 10th Street we're not really even using. We have a lot of opportunities here, and I'm anxious to see us as a city take advantage of that. But the pandemic has obviously put a halt on a lot of that, which people forget about what that means. But one of the things I'm proud of is that we've been affected significantly here locally, as everyone has. But there's no question the public policies at both state and the local level have made a difference. And y'all have been part of that, and you should be proud of it. We don't have the numbers that they have in Mississippi, not even close. And I'd argue anyway that our numbers, one death is too many. So it's nothing to brag about, but at the same time, I think our actions have saved lives, and it's not been politically easy. It's not politically easy. I get asked about some of this every day. And I don't like to say no, I'm a politician, right? But I have to, because it's been in the public's interest, and the council has done the right thing also, and you should be proud of that. I'm proud of it. We have to be careful as we reopen. We've had one death in the last month. I remember a year ago, the first death we had when we were notified, and it was a scary situation. We're not through this yet, and I don't think it's wise to declare victory yet, as some people are. I think we need to be cautious so that we can fully reopen and get back to normal and not have anything. So that's my position on it. If there's nothing else, though, we'll move on to the ordinance on waiving bidding on the asphalt box. Thank you, Ms. Moore, for your time. We'll move on to the asphalt hot box for the street department. There's a copy of the ordinance in your packet. This is something we've talked about several meetings. Mr. Valley, are you on? I know you're kind of in transit. Mr. Valley? I know he told me he would be in his car, but he would try to dial in. So I'm gonna give him a chance.
He's not on yet, Mayor.
He's not.
Mr. Etherly has arrived.
Okay. So why don't we move on to the next ordinance, since that's Mr. Etherly. Do you want to talk about that?
No, it's just it's the same resolution, and Mr. Valley put it in ordinance form. And so I don't have anything in addition to add to it. And let's see, I'm trying to pull up my agenda in my email. I don't have my paper agenda.
Well, I'll give you. Why don't we back up, talk about the type of questions. Mr. Jones, are you on by any chance?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
And we've already talked about it. I don't want to belabor it, but I don't know that every council member was present either. So you want to just mention briefly why this is important?
Oh, first of all, it's going to save us some money. I mean, we spending a whole lot doing potholes repair. And we're going to have we're going to assign a couple of guys to this project, and we're going to start doing it ourselves. But we spending, like I told y'all at the last meeting, we're spending approximately about $2,000 some every other week fixing potholes, street cuts. And this will really help us. You know, we can go ahead on and pass this tonight.
Well,
questions?
The people who are making the street cut, people making the street cuts, they're responsible. There's an ordinance on the books. I think me and Mr. Huff, former Councilman Huff, we put an ordinance that if you do a street cut, you have to go back with asphalt. So what about all these people who have made street cuts and then go back with asphalt? So like the people who are doing the gas lines, doing all that, they have not went back to, they're using concrete. And I'm pretty sure that, I mean, there's an ordinance set in place. Am I right, Ms. Ramsey? There is one, because
Well, Mr. Franklin, if you don't mind, that ordinance now also say they can also pay a certain fee where the city have to go back and replace that asphalt I mean, I don't know about the concrete part of it, the ordinance you say about concrete, but we also got an ordinance that they can pay a certain amount that we have to go back and fix that street cut if they are doing a water line repair. I mean, am I correct, Miss Sandy?
Yes,
But I don't. That was probably in another ordinance before. But what we did was we made sure that if anybody did anything, they was to go back with asphalt, not concrete.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so
I agree with you, Mr. Franklin. That's the way we want to do it, and that's the way the mayor prefers to do it with asphalt.
Well, I mean, I understand what the mayor wants to do, but he want to do a lot of other stuff too. But my concern is this: is try to make sure that that people know that we have an ordinance in place. So how do you go back with this should have been brought to us before when he first got started, because see now you got all these concrete cuts, but now it looks like to me, okay, well we had enough of this guy pouring the concrete. We want to do asphalt. This should have happened before now. I mean, because think about it. All the money we spent on concrete in the last 2 years since he's been in office, it's kind of like now. We must have a love-hate relationship that somebody that fell out with. Now you want to buy this machine. We should have did this before now.
It was my idea, Mr. Franklin. It was my idea.
Well, I'm glad somebody.
And all I'm trying to do, I understand, Mr. Franklin. All I want to do is get this thing passed, Mr. Franklin.
Mr. Jones, I understand that. I understand that what you want to get done, but it's like this. It's what you want to get done. But the mayor, it's okay. How about this? When y'all want to get something done, why don't y'all take some time to pay? Y'all don't have to. Do y'all have department head meetings? Do y'all have any meetings where department heads sit down and see what's going on? Do y'all have those meetings, Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir. We just had one yesterday, Mr. Franklin.
Okay. Yeah. So when y'all have those meetings, look like they should put something together and say, here, we don't get no after the department head meeting to show us what's going on. Yeah, I mean, let me just do what y'all got to do. I mean, it's fine. I'm not arguing. I just hate that when the stuff is just jammed on us. Like, okay, we need this. We need we need this. So in your budget, if you talk to Mr. Turner, do we have those finances? I'm going to do it right now. If Mr. Turner said we got the motion to do it, I'll give it to you right now.
All right. Well, okay, Mr. Turner, can you answer that question? You stay right there, Fogo. Mr. Franklin, Mr. Turner, can you answer that question, sir?
I'll have to look at the budget. I don't know right off my head.
Well, let me know what you do.
Well, no,
okay.
hold on now.
Sandy, I can pull up now and try to see if it's in the budget.
You got to pull it up, Mr. Turner, when?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on my computer now. I can look at it.
Okay, we'll wait. We'll wait.
How much was the machine, Mr. Jones?
23,000.
26.
20. What is it, 23 or 27? I don't have the paperwork in front of me right now.
The ordinance has got 26,055.
Well, it's going to be less than that, man, because we took some things off that we didn't need. So that 27 is going to be a little bit lesser, but, we'll leave it right there for now. We won't be charged for it.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
If I may have the floor for a second, I've looked at this thing for some time, and I can see where it's going to save the city a lot of money by having this hot box, by us doing this type of work, and under the direction of Mr. Jones. I think it's going to be a great thing for our community. It's a matter of saving a lot of money in the future. It's going to cut our expenses way back by owning this piece of property. We're going to be glad we'll have it. And I can't see any other reason why we shouldn't have it, because it's another tool that we can have that will benefit this community. I'd like to make a motion that we put ordinance number 13, waive the competitive bidding on this project and get it out of the way. I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 13 and for the competitive bidding of it.
Thank you, St. Columbia. I think the motion would be to put it on. Did you say put it on?
Reading the title on.
Is there a second? And then I'll actually ask Mr. Turner to speak as soon as we get through this. Is there a second on the motion? Is there a second on the motion to put ordinance number 13 on third and final reading? Is there a second? I don't hear a second. Mr.
Well, I have a question.
Hold on just a second. Mr. Turner, do you want to go ahead and answer the question about the budget?
Yes, sir. There is no appropriation that been made in street or sanitation for capital purchases. So if the city council wants to give approval to purchase this item, then they would have to make that appropriation. Just by approving it, they would be increasing those appropriations. And they do have room left, and they have about $235,000 in appropriations left in the budget right now. So if they wanted to do it, there's no line item for it, but there are enough appropriations to make the purchase without cutting any other expenses.
The only thing I would add to the cost issue is, $25,000 is what we're talking about, and I would say we will easily meet that in pothole expenditures using concrete and cement and cold mix. And we've been using cold mix here for a long time, and this will be a move to use asphalt per that ordinance, but not just asphalt, hot mix asphalt on the scene that's also sealed at the scene, allowing it to be moved on to the next location and then the next location. So it will allow us to use our own city crews instead of contracting so much work out. It will allow us to move faster, and I think in a very short period of time in this year, even with the expense of the machine included, you're going to see us save more than the cost of this machine easily. So this is not my area of expertise. It was recommended to us to go this direction. It seems like a really good option to me. And it comes from our Public Works Department street. Highly recommended. We have talked about it in previous meetings, so I don't want to belabor it any longer, but are there any other questions about it?
Yes, sir. Question forward. In the quote that we were given, it states that it will be, and I know it's just a quote, it's not a fixed amount, but it says 28,755. The ordinance says 26, and you're saying 25. So we know that it's going to be cheaper than what they said in the quote?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Ford, it will be. I mean, when I presented that to Mr. Valley and his secretary, we did scratch out. I called the gentleman. It's got a part on there that we didn't need. So I asked that we go ahead on and waive that $3,000. It was saving us another $3,000, probably $2,500. So I mean, it's something that we didn't need.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. I wish it had been corrected in the information that was sent out.
Yes, ma'am. I do apologize.
Well, and I'll just, the ordinance says estimated fees incidental, excuse me, not to exceed $26,055.
Yes, sir.
So provided we keep it below that.
I apologize.
Yeah, that's a good question, though. Thank you, Ms. Ford. Other questions? Okay, I'm going to ask again if there is a motion to put ordinance number 13 on third and final reading.
I so move.
I heard two people.
Davis.
Ms. Davis moves, Mr. St. Columbia seconds. Is that okay?
Yes. That's fine.
Motion to put ordinance number 13, 2021 on third and final reading. Any other questions or comments about that motion? If not, call the roll.
Franklin, Davis,
Yes.
Etherly,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Crockett, St. Columbia.
Yes.
That's 4 yes, 2 absent.
And motion passes. So the
Mayor,
next motion-
keep us abreast of the savings that will incur because of this hot box. I'd like to know that.
Yeah, and I think, Ms. Jones, that's not a bad idea, actually.
Yes, sir.
I think we can do that. Sure do. I think that's a great idea, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
So the next question before the council would be to place ordinance number 13, or to final approval of ordinance number 13, and to read the title only. An ordinance waiving competitive bidding in accordance with Arkansas Code annotated section 1458-303, authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract to purchase an asphalt hot box for the city of Helena-West, Helena, and for other related purposes. Did I do that right, Mr. Edley? I want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So
Ms. Davis moves. Is there a second?
Second.
St. Columbia seconds the motion. Any other questions or comments about the motion on ordinance number 13, final approval? If not, call the roll.
Ford,
Yes.
Etherly,
Yes.
Franklin, Crockett, St. Columbia,
Yes.
Davis.
yes.
It has an emergency clause, Mayor.
All right, thank you. So the final act on this would be adoption of the emergency clause for ordinance number 13. Is
So
there a
moved.
motion? Mr. St. Columbia moves adoption of the emergency clause. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Davis seconds the motion. If there's no other, are there any other questions or comments? If not, call the roll.
Ford,
Yes.
Etherly,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
St. Columbia,
Yes.
Franklin, or Crockett. Both are still off. That's 4 yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much. And Ms. Jones, I think those are good suggestions. And I would actually like to know the answer to that too. I think it would be a good exercise for a lot of reasons. Public accountability being one of them, but it also be because we do spend a lot of money on this, and I do think it's going to save us money, and I do think it's going to be a better solution all around. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
A question.
Yes.
For Mr. Jones. I know I'm sure it will be a savings for as far as potholes are concerned. Are we going to have any, or is there anything in the budget for some of the streets that need resurfacing?
That's going to be a Derek Turner question there, Ms. Davis. You the finance, is that what you're talking about? Money?
Okay. Do you have any plans to do any resurfacing for some of the streets that are in bad shape?
Yes,
that
ma'am.
won't do?
We got several streets need to be resurfaced. I mean, from Holly Street over there in your ward and Miss Davis ward, but that, like I say, that's gonna have to come from Mr. Turner. I don't, if we even got the money to, cause I mean, that's very expensive when you're doing a half a street or a large section of a street.
Right.
You're looking at $20,000-$30,000 for just a little, probably 12, 13 foot section when it come down to concrete.
Well, we do have some streets that are in bad shape. I mean,
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Potholes fixing a pothole won't do it.
But now this will help. This will get us started where we can try to do the repairs. This will help a lot.
Ms. Davis, if I could chime in there, y'all will remember the state aid local aid highway road program, street program.
Yes.
Because y'all did that a couple of years ago. I spoke with the person in charge of that about a year ago, and he told me we had to be on a waiting list because we had just gotten a wave of funding, but we should be coming up again pretty soon. And what I thought we would do is take the streets that you've already recommended. I know Holly is one of them.
Yes.
I know
Holly, Old Little Rock Road.
Yeah.
I mean, I got it on my desk. We got at least something where you need some major work done, at least 5 or 6 streets. And I don't know if we got it on there too late doing a couple years ago, but like you said, Mayor, it's coming up again soon, right?
Yeah, they had to reallocate some of that because it didn't end up having as well. Really, the price was more than was estimated, so they had to take some mileage off. But we can basically resubmit what didn't get funded before. Of course, you could read.
Yes, sir.
You will have to approve this, so you can be thinking about other streets. But I know Holly was one of them. I think Little Rock Road was one of them. Washington Street was one of them. That ultimately didn't get funded in that round, and we're about to come up again. And the way they do this is they pass it around. So once you get your streets funded, which happened just as I came in, you have to be on a waiting list, and we should be coming up again for another round. And but y'all will have to approve the resolution, so we'll have to have that discussion again. That's a good question. We do have, it's about $1 million a mile. Well, in the city, it's probably a little less than that, but it's tremendously expensive. That's for sure.
Well, whatever we need to do, I hope we can do it soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. And I think I saw Mr. Valley get on here. So we're going to move next to ordinance number 14. Mr. Etherly, would you like to present that?
Yes, sir. This ordinance number 14 is the resolution that I presented at the last meeting. Mr. Valley, the city attorney, suggested that we do it in ordinance format. It's the one that sets the payment of water, sewer sanitation fees, and the dates and the circumstances by which those dates will be extended. And so I guess we've talked about it on numerous occasions. If nobody has any questions, I will move that we adopt ordinance number 14. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Did somebody say something? Yeah. So if nobody has any questions, I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 14 by placing it on its third and final reading the title only.
Second.
Mr. Etherly moves and Ms. Davis seconds. Motion to put ordinance number 14 on third and final reading. Any other questions or comments about the motion? If not, call the roll.
Davis?
Yes.
St. Columbia?
Yes.
Crockett? Franklin? Etherly?
Yes.
Forward?
Yes.
4 yes, 2 absent.
Motion passes. Mr. Etherly?
I move for adoption of the ordinance.
Number 14.
Yes, move for adoption of ordinance number 14.
Second.
Mr. Etherly moves. Mr. St. Columbia seconds motion for adoption of ordinance number 14. Do we need to read that paragraph?
Sure, I'll read the title. An ordinance of the city of Helena-West, Helena, Arkansas, reaffirming and modifying the city policy regarding due dates and payment of water, sewer, and sanitation fees, more commonly known as water bills.
Thank you, Mr. Etherly. Any questions or comments about the motion, final approval for ordinance number 14? If not, call the roll.
St. Columbia?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Forward?
Yes.
Etherly?
Yes.
Franklin and Crockett? 4 yes.
Now, I don't see an emergency clause on here, so
No, there's not one.
We don't really need one. I'll take it. I guess we don't need a. All right. Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much. It's number 14. Thank you, Mr. Adderley. Mr. Valley, you able to talk?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I apologize. I told the mayor and I told the city clerk that I was traveling from court, and I have court in Little Rock here in the morning. So I was traveling through a storm and didn't call in because I didn't want to disturb the line. So I'm now in Little Rock. And so, yes, I'm able to talk, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, great. So you wanted to talk about mediation hearings? Yes,
there were 4 mediation dates. I gave them to Madam Clerk as well as the mayor's executive assistant. The 4 dates, May the 20th at 1 o'clock, is John Bailey versus City of Helena-West Helena. We have June the 10th at 1 o'clock. It's Ashley Tyler versus City of Helena-West Helena. Both of those are related to both of those are police department. One is a current officer, one is a former officer. June 16th at 10 a.m. Cortez Bowers, he's a former police officer. And June the 17th at 10 a.m., Charles Bird, a former police officer. These go back to the time of, 3 of the 4 go back to the time of the former Chief Euless Wallace, and it's relating to their promotions or lack of promotions and whether they actually were entitled to promotion. I think the final one is Mr. Bird. He is related to the more modern times, but all 4 just simply for mediation. Now that COVID hit, the court opening back up May the 1st, so they asked us to try to get all these cases mediated to go ahead and so we can set them all for trial and get all this behind us. But those are the dates. As normal, we would require the mayor, the city council, as well as the city treasurer to be available at those times and those dates. They are all by Zoom. That's one thing that Judge Bell is the mediator, and she assuming they're by Zoom unless you all are voting to have them in person. Philip Allen says he doesn't object to either way. If y'all want to have them in person, you can. If we want to have them in Zoom, it may be better for all of you. It may be easier for all of you. What say you all? Do y'all continue to want to have them by Zoom? The last 2 you've had by Zoom.
Under me, I don't care.
No problem.
What's Franklin? I didn't understand you.
Miss Fat, it's fine with me either way. Let's get it done. The quicker the better.
Okay. So what I'm telling Mr. Allen and Judge Bell at this point, she's the mediator, is that you all going to do it by Zoom. Is that what I'm hearing from you all, or do you all request that they be in person?
Zoom is fine with me.
Zoom is fine with me also.
What's Miss Ford?
Zoom's okay.
Ford, I'll go ahead. I'll go with the majority.
Okay, Zoom is fine. Anybody have any opposition to any of these dates? The one that really can't be moved is the one on the 20th. The others, if we can't get a majority, we may have some wiggle room there. But the one on the 20th, John Bailey, we've been ordered to get it done before the end of May. Excuse me. The others, we've scheduled this as quickly as possible so we can try to get them all done.
It's 1 o'clock on May the 20th. Is that right?
1 o'clock on May the 20th. That's John Bailey. 1 o'clock on June the 10th. That's Ashley Tyler. 10 a.m. on June the 16th. That's Cortez Bowers. And 10 a.m. on June the 17th. That's Charles Bird.
Okay. Okay. I got it on my schedule.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. That's what I had to say about the mediations.
Okay, so Mr. Valley, while we got you, I'm not sure I'm worried might lose you again. And we talked earlier today.
I'm seated. I'm in Little Rock. I'm fine.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to follow your lead about the lease agreement. Do you want to bring that up now? Wait.
Well, the lease agreement, today, the mayor gave me the lease agreement. I hadn't had a chance to thoroughly review it. The last you all voted was for me and the mayor to finalize it. I asked the mayor to put this on the agenda. That was not his request. I asked him to put it on old business. It is my sincere desire that on the 20th, there is a complete vote up and down because the contract is scheduled to begin. I didn't mean to say the 20th, the next city council meeting, whatever date that is, 2 weeks from the day, because the contract is scheduled to begin on June the 1st. When on Thursday, I intend to get with Thursday or Friday, I intend to get with the mayor so we can go through and compare. Most of this is what the mayor has requested. After you all approved us to do the final negotiations, the mayor sent a letter and has had several phone calls with them about this. And so much of this is based on the mayor renegotiating to get a better deal for us. But what I want to do is add some language. This contract is redrafted by Amy Board. I want to go back and add the language that we previously had in the one that I sent the draft and incorporate this language as far as the details. I'm not trying to change the content of it, but it's a 1-year lease and we're trying to resolve that. This has nothing to do with the dispatchers. The dispatchers have already been taken care of by the county. And so this does not incorporate that. That's not something for us to think about.
So let me say for those who are listening in, what we're talking about is the Justice Complex out on the bypass next to the new jail. Half of that is for the Sheriff's Department. Part of it is, I believe, for Circuit Court. Judge Wilson. And I'm the new 911 updated system is now being covered by the county out there. And the other, not most of the rest of that building has been set aside for the possibility of our police department locating there. So as you all know, I'm just doing this for the public, really. There's been, discussion back and forth about what that looks like, and off and on for a couple of years now. So today we got this lease agreement. I believe that it's been sent out to the council, if I'm not mistaken. But if it hadn't been, we will. And of course, Mr. Valley and I talked about it, or briefly talked about it. So that's the subject matter here. And as far as what as Mr. Valley said, about a year ago, I'd say we have something in writing that I responded it to. Okay, it sounds like y'all did get it in your email, so check your email for those who get email. And anyway, we can put that on the next agenda, Mr. Valley. If there's no objection to that. Give everybody else a chance, give you and Amy a chance to talk. Basically, it's
right. What my intent is to have a final agreement so that it could be voted on, and that be the end of it. If we're going to move in, you all have already voted and told the county that you accepted the terms in principle, but the mayor objected to specific terms, and now this is a rehashing of all the conversations the mayor has had with the county judge and with Amy Board.
Correct.
Right, but it's not an action item. I, as city attorney, want to make sure that you all were updated and that I didn't forget to update you tonight. But it's not for you to take action tonight. I want to make sure that we take action on 2 weeks from today, though, because time is pressing on it to go ahead. If you're going to move, you got to go ahead and get it done. But you voted twice already to approve it in principle.
Thank you, Mr. Valley. Any comments on that at this point? But we will go ahead and put it on the next agenda. if there's no objection.
I know it might be too late or whatever, but I was just wondering, do you have a diagram or a layout of the space that will become the new police department?
That's one of the issues we've been waiting on from them. They should have it now in the completed form. Previously, the architect said that they said that they would get it to it once the architect had done it. That every other structure is already finished. The sheriff department, probation and parole are out there, as well as Judge Dion Wilson is out there. But it's a space. But we should have a floor plan now because we wanted that attached to the agreement, but I haven't received a copy of it. They may have submitted one to the mayor's office, but I haven't received a copy of the detailed floor plan.
Do you have one, Mayor?
I've seen it. I'm sure I do, and I have seen it.
Can you share that copy?
I've also walked it. Well, I will. I think to Mr. Valley's point, we probably need to have a fresher version of it to make sure we're all literally on the same page. So what I'll probably do is ask for the latest version of it.
Okay, will you share it with us, please?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Well, we get a floor plan, attach it to the proposal next week, next meeting.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's my intent.
Yeah, that way we'll have it all put together.
Great. Good question. Any other questions? Okay, Ms. Sandy, if there's no objection, we'll put that on the next agenda. And between now and then, we'll do all the other things. And if you think of anything else, let us know. Mr. Valley, you got anything else?
No, sir, not on that issue.
Anything on any other issues?
No, I think you have already passed both the ordinances, and we talked mediation. And no, I don't have anything. No, sir, I don't have anything else that I see.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Valley. Thanks for your work.
Yep.
Okay, so there's nothing else on that. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Discussion. Mr. Franklin wishes to discuss the need for salary adjustments of which he has recently been made aware. Mr. Franklin.
Thank you. We had talked about the difference in the two people that's on your list. I would like to bring them up to 48 due to the recent raises in other departments that we discussed. So I'd like to bring them up. To bring them up if you all would think about that.
Can you tell us exactly who you're talking about, or what position? Not names, but what positions?
Well, you got the payroll clerk and the city attorney's secretary.
So they received a raise 2 weeks ago. You're asking for to receive another raise?
Well, no. Let's get this understood. Mr. Valley, I know you're online, but when we were adjusted district court, I said we need to, Ms. Valley, sure we need to look back. So those people have been there 20 years. And I think, we need to give them at least the 48. And then, when the budget was passed, you said you had this in the budget for them. Oh, hold on, wait. Let me slow down because I'm around a lot of noise. Mayor, let me take you back. Remember, you had said you would get back with us and let us know about the person in the water department. Have you taken care of that person?
I've asked for that information, and I'm still waiting.
Okay, I got something.
But I did follow up the next day and ask for that. Sure did.
Okay. Well, I think you. Well, let me just get into it. I think you should look at that, Mayor. With these two people, with these three people, when the budget was passed, we were supposed to take care of those people. I do believe that it's only right and fair that these people receive. I was trying to get it done in the meeting. Mr. Valley said he would get back with me. That's just me. I think we should at least get those two people to bring them up to what the chief of staff is, and I think that's 48.5. That's me. I think they deserve their work. They've proved their work ethics. They're always there. I understand other employees are too, but this is what we did this for district court. It put those people who have been there in district court and put those people way over than what district court gets. So district court will make more than the employees that we already have in payroll and the city attorney secretary. Am I right, Mr. Valley? Am I right, Ms. Sandy? Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm muted. I'm sorry.
Mr. Valley? Ms. Red?
Yes, I'm muted. I was muted. I'm sorry. I think that you're right that you're saying that the district court has gotten a couple of more raises than Ms. Simpson and Ms. Clash. I think you're right about that because they received the raise. They received the raise when everybody received a $2 raise. Then they received the raise when Judge King asked. And then once they received another raise. So they received 3 raises in I can't remember the price dollar amount. I didn't know that this was specifically going to be discussed this evening, but I can't remember the price dollar amount. But in principle, I agree with what you just said about that the district court clerks were raised far past them, and they've been held far longer than the district court clerks. I think you asked Ms. Rams as well. She may have more insight on Mr. Turner as to what the differences were, because I don't know specifically.
Sandy Ramsey here. I agree with Attorney Valley that longevity is worth a great deal, and I think both ladies need to be adjusted.
And also,
that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. Also, you're not asking for an additional raise. You're asking that we correct this so it will be equitable.
Yes.
To them
thank you, Ms.
because of their job duties and their tenure.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
and also,
let me say, I was just going to say, my position on those two positions, or my feeling about those two issues, along with those in my part of that budget, is it should be their supervisors' recommendations, and you just heard from their supervisors. So it's they're both elected officials in their own right. It's not my position I don't feel like to contradict that. So I've made my position known for my area of that budget, and we've done it, and I'm happy with that. So you've heard from Ms. Ramsey, who is one of the supervisors, and Mr. Valley, who is the other supervisor. So I'm going to let that be y'all's discussion.
And I agree. And I wasn't trying to take any spotlight from anyone. I was just trying to get some clarity to what we were doing, that we weren't giving an additional raise, but they said that their supervisor said that it should be as so.
Okay, any other questions? Go ahead.
I'm moving that we correct to adjust those two ladies' salary.
Mr. Treasury. I'm sorry, Mr. Turner. What did we approve? So, I mean, the motion would be to increase the salary raise from what was already approved 2 weeks ago to this 48.5. Is that right?
I think it's just 48, Mayor.
48 even?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So to make those positions equitable would be 48,000 even. Is that any disagreement with that? So the motion, I guess, Mr. Franklin, would be to raise the salaries of the two positions. I'll let you describe them to $48,000. Mr. Franklin.
Man, you hear those gunshots? I'm outside. They ain't over here busting. So, yeah, that's my motion.
Okay.
Shoot.
Ms. Turner, what are the titles?
The titles for the employees. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, sir.
The payroll clerk and the secretary. For the secretary, it's in the city attorney's office.
Secretary?
Yes.
City attorney, okay. So the motion would be to increase the salary to $48,000 for the payroll clerk in the city clerk's office, and that part of the administration budget, and to $48,000 for the position of secretary in the city attorney's office and that portion of the budget. Is there a second? I heard something, but I'm not sure what I heard. Is there a second? I feel like we're having some audio. Ms. Ford seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Is there any discussion about the motion? If not, call the roll.
St. Columbia. Mr. Joe. Ms. Ford.
Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Etherly. Ms. Davis. Mr. Franklin.
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia. Ms. Davis and Mr. Etherly.
Yes.
Okay, 1, 2, I have 3 yes and 3 absent. Mayor Smith?
I'll vote yes. I'll vote yes if that's your recommendation, Mr. Vallis. Like I said, I don't feel comfortable since y'all are elected officials also to really contradict what you feel your staff deserves. So I'll vote yes.
Okay. So that's 4 yes and 3 absent. It carries.
No, I'm sorry, motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, the next issue or last issue on the agenda, I believe, is a discussion. I'm just going to give you a water update. There's no action on them there. Although I will ask that this be put on the next agenda, Ms. Ramsey, because we do need to take some actions pretty soon. First of all, we had a leak in the what's the West Tank on Stringtown Road, which is one of our most important water tanks. And it was a leak about the size of a quarter, I think we finally determined, but it was a serious leak. However, for the most part, it didn't cause disruption, although I heard this morning it might have caused some disruption. So the tank also, along with Reservoir Hill tank, has been really past due for some years for an inspection. They're usually, I'm told, inspected every 15 to 20 years, but most of the time they go way past 20 years, and ours have gone way past 20 years. So in order to fix the leak, we had to drain the tank call in a crew to fix it. It's the same, basically the same crew that does the inspection for the Department of Health. So we did get West Tank inspected in compliance finally with the Department of Health. We did get the leak fixed. That was as of yesterday or this morning. And we haven't had much disruption in either water pressure or water. However, the inspection, as really anticipated, demonstrates pretty conclusively that it needs to be painted again in order for proper maintenance. We still also have the issue of the erosion around the base of it, which has gotten worse since the winter storm. And the road behind it, Word Avenue or Word Road, I have a hard time saying that. There's some serious drainage issues back there that have been in there ever since some construction was done at the school nearby. And also what's going on at West Tank doesn't help it any. So when they had to release that water, it made that worse. There are only a couple of houses on Word Avenue, but they're in the city limits, and they pay presumably the same taxes the rest of us do as well, and so that needs to be addressed. And I definitely, it's upsetting to go back there and see some of the drainage issues that have been there for quite a few years. So, in addition, Reservoir Hill, which is our main tank, and we only have two that have not been inspected and painted in a timely manner, and that's West Tank, which has now been inspected, and Reservoir Hill. Y'all might remember we've had this conversation already a couple of times. It's never been inspected. You have to drain the tank. Reservoir is the main tank. That's where all the water on the Helena side goes to first before it goes out to the rest of the tanks. So, but there is a way to do it. It's not easy with Reservoir Hill, and I think that's the reason it's been put off for so long, but you can do it. We're going to go ahead and plan to do the inspection. Here's the part I wanted you to know. First of all, that the leak has been repaired at West Tank. The inspection has been done at West Tank and being submitted to the Department of Health. We are scheduling the logistics around an inspection for Reservoir Hill. The painting part of that is pretty expensive. That part of this will have to definitely be a council decision. So what I wanted to point out was that our engineer, Ken and Mike, have been very much part of this, and as usual, been very, I don't know what to do without them, frankly. And so they'll be available next time to discuss this, and I hope we have some numbers and estimates and things like that. But and we'll get with Mr. Turner and also talk about the financial outlook of this. But it's past time that it should have already been done. So we have some, along with a lot of other things, as you know, we have a lot of things to discuss about water coming up. That's my report. Any questions about that? Okay. All right. Well, that concludes our meeting. Any other issues or questions before we close? 7:30. Is there a motion to adjourn?
On the next agenda, I want to discuss the elected official salaries. It just says salary adjustments in here, but we haven't discussed the elected officials in a while. And I would like that on the next agenda if they're not prepared to discuss tonight.
Can you say that again? I didn't quite get that. Whose salaries?
Elected officials. City attorney.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I just didn't. You were breaking up on me. Okay. Mr. Valley asked that elected official salaries be put on the next agenda. So is there no objection? We'll do that. Any other, if there's no other business to come before the council, is there a motion to adjourn? Anybody? You're probably on mute. Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn? I don't know. Do we still have a quorum? I'm not sure we do.
So moved.
Okay. I think that was Ms. Ford. Was
Yes.
that you? Was that you, Ms. Ford?
Yes.
It was.
Okay. Ms. Ford moves adjournment. There's no objection. Meeting's adjourned. Thank y'all very much.
Everybody have a good evening.